Hello and welcome back to the Diary of the Coffee Hunter. Thank you very much for supporting this channel. If you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe button and activate your notifications so that when we next post something on this channel, you will be able to receive a notification and enjoy what we have to offer on this wonderful space. 12 months ago, I sat down in a local cafe with one of the young people that I mentor. And after a lengthy conversation about all things Gen Z, we got to be talking about myself. And in that one moment, a mentee became mentor. This brilliant young woman then said to me, why don't you do a YouTube channel that just captures all the stuff that you get up to when you're traveling around your coffee world? I already had this YouTube channel, but I had never really used it for anything meaningful. I would just post like something that is equivalent to what is called shorts, as I now found out what these short version videos are called. And that was it. There was no structure to it. There was nothing really um, uh, to show any organization of intent. So she says, yeah, you surely have some interesting stuff whenever you go away or whenever you're doing this coffee thing that you're always doing. So yeah, I then got myself to thinking about it, and I said to myself, yes, it's something that I can do. 12 months ago, I found myself in Cape Town. That became sort of like my first foray into the world of YouTubing. So I went to different places there, and this time with intent. The first place that I went to was the Truth or Truth Coffee Shop, and I also went to places like Rosetta, and I also went to the Espresso Lab. Those are the ones that I ended up featuring. I did go to other places as well around Cape Town, but those are the places I ended up just featuring on the sort of like the first big YouTube video that I was doing. Prior to that, I had done something around the visit to Vietnam. It was an afterthought. It wasn't done with the intention. When I was on the ground, I hadn't done the footage that I captured there with the intention of uploading it onto a YouTube channel. I had simply just captured footage and pictures as I would on any of my visits to these various places. But on this occasion in Cape Town, I had the intention of actually recording for the purposes of putting content on a YouTube channel. I found myself doing Cape Town. That video did very well, surprisingly. That kind of gave me the confidence that perhaps I should actually carry on. And in between, I had gone to Cape Town for the Cocoa and Coffee Week. So one of the days in between, I hopped across to Zimbabwe and I did a video while I was at the Robert Gabriel Mugabe International Airport. So I did a simple video where I was just talking about what I was seeing. And that again blew. It generated quite a good engagement. There were a few comments there. So there were people that were especially interested in what I was talking about regarding the new shiny airport. Fantastic piece of infrastructure it is, but it's kind of contradictory to whatever else that you see around the country. I was back again in Zimbabwe, and this one blew my mind because I had no intention of posting such content on the Diary of the Coffee Hunter. But I just put together some footage that I had captured around the work that we're doing in our rural homestead in Buhera. And I then posted it. It's 11 to 12 minute video. I went to bed after posting the video. I woke up the following day. It had hit 15,000 views. It just went absolutely, to another space. I'd never believed or I'd never thought I would reach. And within that time, my followers on the YouTube channel jumped from, I think at that time I had about 180, and I went past the 1,000 mark in a space of 48 hours. That video, to this day, I watch it and my mind is blown at the interest it generated. And it's all of, less than 12 minutes of it. So I then realized that, oh, you know what, I'm going to be mixing this channel, although it says the diary of the coffee hunter, it is going to be about coffee, but then I also perhaps should include some of the things that happen within my world, not necessarily connected to coffee. And the relocation stories are one of those things. I am, like many people that have been in the diaspora for many years, also looking back home and thinking, I think I've done enough. I've put in a shift where I am. At the end of the day, coming out here was always akin to when people went out to go for a hunt. So we are out here hunting, albeit not for a few days, but for quite a number of years. But ultimately, we want to be going home. And for that reason, I have found myself looking at various things that could possibly be done by somebody who is around my age, who is looking or who has been in the diaspora for as many years as I've been, and is looking to go back and what it is that they can get engaged in Zimbabwe. So for me, one of the things that I will definitely be doing is, will be connected to being in my rural Buhera, where I spent most of my formative years, from birth till I was going into secondary school. Effectively, I was in rural Buhera. I've also got my own interest in coffee, so we have a project that we are working on in Vumba. We've got a piece of land that we hope this will set Zimbabwe as the most unique coffee culture in sub-Saharan Africa. So the video on relocation was such a hit. So I did a follow-up video, again, did very well. I then, did others that were going back and forth between coffee and, not necessarily coffee. A few months later, I found myself in Kigali in Rwanda. That was an interesting place. Firstly, I had gone for the Africa Coffee and Tea Expo. I was one of the speakers there, although I ended up doing a little bit more in moderating some of the panels at the event. I went there with not much expectation. I had seen quite a lot about Rwanda, but what I found in Rwanda blew my mind. Again, a place that has managed to do so much within a space of 30 years since the genocide. I visited the Kigali Genocide Memorial. That touched me so much. I wasn't even aware that I could be broken like that. But I had a moment where I was returning the equipment, the translation equipment, back to the reception after touring the site. And I looked at the lady and the gentleman that were behind the counter, these Rwandan people that were behind the counter. I just looked at them and I wanted to say thank you, but suddenly I just started crying. It was such a thing. It is such a moment. If you are ever going to do one thing in life, I would encourage you to go to Rwanda and visit the Genocide Memorial. Especially, I will encourage, especially in Africa, it's very important to take lessons of how that country healed from that 100 days of madness that killed millions of people. But it was, something else. And then, of course, I had the privilege of going into rural Rwanda, where I met, again, fantastic people, their stories and how they related post-genocide, where families that were sworn enemies, where you are having a cooperative that consists of people that were victims and perpetrators, all working together in the same cooperative, producing some fantastic coffee. Rwanda was absolutely mind-blowing. After Rwanda was Algeria. Again, a place I had never been. In fact, I'd never been to that whole Magreb region. I'd never been to Morocco, never been to Tunisia, and never been to Egypt. So it was my first time to be in Arab Africa. Now, Algeria was interesting. Algeria, as is most places that I visit, I always find them fascinating because I'm seeing things that I've never come across. I'm just observing. I love observing cultures. And Algeria was one of those places that it's like if you've been to France, Algeria or Algiers, because I just spent all the time that I was in Algeria in the capital city in Algiers. So if you want to imagine France, Paris or Paris, and you want to look at Paris as it is now, and then you go to Algiers and you say, this was Paris maybe 50 years ago. Very well developed, but just got moments where it just tells you time stood still after a certain time, and then it just didn't move on. But it is a fairly advanced country, very surprising with the level of infrastructural development that is in the country. It is, of course, the part of the Mediterranean, so the food is lovely. And the coffee culture, they drink a lot of coffee. The Algerians do. They drink a lot of coffee. They are a mixture of various cultures that have been through that part of the world over the centuries. There's the Romans, whether it's the Berbers, Arabs, and of course the French as the colonizers before Algeria that is there now. So Algeria was fun. I mean, I had gone to Algeria for the Indo-Africa Trade Fair. I was part of the delegation of the Zimbabwe delegation, and my brief was basically representing Zimbabwe coffee through our Changamiri Coffee Company. Algeria was very, very interesting. Made some interesting contacts, and hopefully, all things being equal, I might be going back just to say hi and see what else can be done around Zimbabwean coffee in that part of the world, in the whole Magreb region. So that was Algeria that I then did. So as far as traveling to other places, to countries, other countries, just to explore the coffee culture, I would say, well, Algeria was good. I think Vietnam tops them all. Unfortunately for Vietnam, because for the reasons I mentioned earlier, that I wasn't intentional about capturing the footage, but Vietnam, to this day, even my family and I, we say of all the places that we've been, whether it's Indonesia, Bali, or Thailand, or China, or any of these places that we've been, Tanzania and elsewhere that we've been, Dubai, UAE, Dubai, we constantly say that we should go back to Vietnam. And I need to go back to Vietnam and do a proper coffee hunt. I have to do that soon. Vietnam would have been peak if I had captured all the things that I'd actually seen with the intention of putting them up on the YouTube channel. Rwanda was emotional, but I think it's another place that one needs to revisit, this time having an appreciation of the history of how Rwanda turned around that country so beautifully. By any imagination, Kigali is a first world city. Even the amenities that you find in rural Rwanda. Went to a place called Kayonza, and I mean the amenities that you find there, unlike rural outposts in most of sub-Saharan Africa, they have stuff that works: running water, electricity off the grid, and all the various amenities that you can think of. Good schools, good hospitals. Rwanda is well looked after, and the people themselves, they are very, very intentional about what they want their country to be like. but no, who knows what might happen when the current president, who has taken them through from the genocide to where they are now, if he then moves on, you never know what might happen. Things can change quickly, but I wish that Rwanda carries on the trajectory it is at the minute, because it is proper leadership as a country, not the individual who is in power, but the country itself. It is a demonstration of leadership in Africa. And what else of interest happened in the year around coffee? Yeah, I finally finished my PhD. I will have a separate video to talk about that, because there is some heavy stuff that I have to share, that I need to share, but actually the whole series of talking about them. But why I mention it now is because I did a few videos around the coffee opportunities, business opportunities in Zimbabwe, where I was extracting from my thesis. And yeah, you can check them out. I might do a couple more opportunities that I'm going to feature. I might feature a few more opportunities, a couple of more opportunities in the next videos to come. But otherwise, it has been quite a 12-month period. I've thoroughly enjoyed this YouTube life, if you want to call it. It has given me a lot to think about, especially around what Zimbabwean coffee scene might be like, what Zimbabwean coffee culture might look like. So thank you very much for people that have subscribed to this channel, and thank you for spending time with me. It's work in progress. I keep learning from other YouTubers. I watch relentlessly YouTube Zimbabwe, the likes of Kevin Period, the likes of Kundai, and all the other people that are doing amazing stuff on YouTube, especially particularly those that show Zimbabwe in a light that is not necessarily shown out there when it is being reported on the news and places like that. So even all the people that are doing the rural homesteading, I think there is my wife and I, we watch Archie and Sammy a lot, actually, more than a lot. And I of course follow one of my neighbors in Buhera, I think is Shumbasville. I do follow Zimbabwe YouTube quite a lot, because it is one of the most inspiring spaces online at the minute. But thank you very much for following the Diary of the Coffee Hunter. Let's catch up soon. Thank you and bye.